see if Trump hits it with tariffs. Trump has since signed a memo calling for fair and reciprocal trade tariffs on all major U.S. trading partners. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Naomi Macnish. Thanks for watching.
WESN.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Nah, you don't need to register nothing. You don't need, we can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and, I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploiting the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
WESN.
Hello there and welcome to AM Prime on WESN Content Capital. I'm Keith Shaw. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Our first topic of conversation focuses on news following the 48th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government in Barbados last evening. Not last evening, actually, took place over the course of late last week into the weekend. In respect to the announcement on the part of Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who's indicated that the changing nature of crime in the Caribbean has rendered heads of government to take actions and to look at violence in public spaces and now regard them, certain acts, as terrorism, including that of gun crimes. Now, the thing is, CARICOM has already tried to take the approach of crime being a public health emergency in the Caribbean. How successful has that been? And exactly, has that at all had any effect on the decision now to regard certain crimes as acts of terrorism? In fact, how is it even going to work in respect to a legislative agenda? Someone who can answer that joins me this morning on the program. Yuvan Das of the University of the West Indies St. Augustine campus joins us once more. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Mr. Shah, and thank you for having me again.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Das. Let me start by asking your initial reaction and thoughts when you heard this announcement, considering as well CARICOM's previous approach of crime as a public health emergency.
So my initial reaction was very positive and negative, mixed emotions, I would say. I was looking at it from a perspective of change and development. And initially, looking at it as a public health emergency, as well as, banning automatic rifles and other initiatives, were not working as effectively. And I think the government's chance to ramp up the selective forces and the agenda on managing crime and criminality and gang activity culminated with a decision that the leaders took initiative. Prime Minister Holness and Miyamaki, would make certain comments about we didn't want to do something like this, but we have to call it like it is. We have to basically handle the element of violence in Caribbean countries and make a decision towards reducing it. Is it the right decision? That remains to be said, because they have to establish a committee to set up the regulative framework and to establish the perimeters of which this new legislation will be enacted. So I think that there are certain promises that they could make when it comes to the expanded law enforcement powers that would usually encompass such a legislation. Certain elements towards asset freezing or financial disruption of criminality and their funding can be used as a cooperative initiative so that the legislation can come into play, as well as wiretapping and surveillance elements, the extended prosecution elements of something like bail access that can be moved from typical gun violence and regulations to something for about 6 to 10 years, where they can actually increase it to about 20 years to life in prison. Some initiatives that they could look to that are usually a part of a terrorist act as opposed to gang violence or gun act. So that could strike fear and deterrence in the hearts of criminals. But it might not do well, in totality.
Yeah. Oh, that's the thing. What has me a bit confused is that, and you raised some points of which I understand, but as you mentioned, they now have to look at the legislative approach, and I believe the Attorney General of Suriname has been charged with that responsibility. However, exactly what is CARICOM's powers in respect to creating legislation for individual countries to enforce? Does CARICOM have that power to create legislation that has to be enforced domestically by individual nations who are members of CARICOM?
Well, like any treaty that CARICOM nations sign on to, there's some power to direct Caribbean countries to implement certain initiatives that created by the Caribbean community, and we signed on to the revised Treaty of Saragamous. And if it's a collective agreement and all heads of government agree, then they would take up the initiative domestically. So it's not a form of directing or enforcing that may be seen as totalitarian. It's more of a diplomatic approach to combat a common problem associated with the Caribbean islands. And that has to be taken up by heads of government and the agreements there.
And then, exactly who would be charged with ensuring that the laws are adhered to? Like the CCG exists, but not all Caribbean countries are full members of the CCG. We were agreed for the existence of a CCG, but the CCG isn't fully implemented in every single membership state.
That remains to be a problem up until now, as the final appellate court of the Caribbean region. So I think countries have to work faster into establishing that into legislation as well. That'll be a good initiative to start with.
But this approach, as we're speaking about this morning, there are avenues, there are possibilities that do exist. You gave some examples previously, but given the history of CARICOM and even the approach, as I said, taken before, what are the lessons that can be learned from some of the unsuccesses in the past, unsuccessful measures? Most notably, as I said, what is yet to be seen as a success or unsuccessful crime as a public health emergency?
So there will be, negative effects of such a legislation that we could learn from. And I think that internationally, we don't want to put ourselves in a position where we're declaring acts of terrorism in a country and possibly wrongfully detaining persons who may not be affiliated with gang activity like they did in El Salvador, right? I remember looking at the news and probably 80,000 persons were incarcerated without any warrants or any evidence. And there were views that certain individuals were just at the wrong place at the wrong time with family members who are gang members and they are totally innocent. But during the secret raids in the middle of the night, initiated by the government and the military, all of them went to prison. And all of them had no rights, no visitations. So it becomes a concern of what the government intends to do and how does it violate human rights. To what extent are we looking at that? To what extent are we looking at the trajectory we're heading down, the different type of bans that we want to implement, the different types of laws and regulations? What's the impact on our international credibility? What's the impact on our tourism? Knowing that, okay, countries declare a state of emergency, is the act of terrorism for gun violence. Do I want to come to a country like that? Do I want to invest in a country like that? And how does that impact our international reputation, our regional reputation, our foreign direct investment, things like that? So lessons learned. We have to be very cognizant of the fact that these things can become a reality and can negatively impact us. So we have to deal with this very carefully.
Where can CARICOM, or who can CARICOM turn to for advice and even guidance in respect to moving forward on this particular initiative? I believe that there is no clear definition internationally of terrorism. I think the UN Security Council has some tenets that suggest that these are acts of terrorism, but not necessarily any definition of terrorism. And then what is taking place with the United States right now leaves CARICOM impacts and even the Caribbean Basin Security Initiative up in the air. So who can CARICOM turn to for advice in respect of moving forward, proceeding with this?
Well, we can have security experts from across the world weigh in on this. We can even contact Interpol or British. To some extent, we could still have diplomatic relations with the US. So I wouldn't rule it out totally. I mean, they will not be given aid as they would because of that pause for 90 days and the restructuring aspect of it. But we still have diplomatic channels open. And we can still communicate and learn from their experiences through lesson drawing initiatives and policy borrowing initiatives. We could look at how the US framed the Patriot Act and the areas of discovery. We can look at their creative laws that deals with terrorism and how does the founding principles of terrorism now impact on incarceration, time, no bail, tapping mechanisms and seizure and search mechanisms, and how it's different with the use of the National Guard and military aspects, and how does the FBI and the CIA get involved in terms of our police service, our Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau, the DPP's office. So without communicating with them, we can still look at their legislative agenda. We contact as well the agencies in Europe to have lesson join, policy borrowing, and other initiatives to learn from their experience as well. So it's still on the table for discussion.
I understand that. But in respect to the resources for actually carrying out such operations, the impacts, as already said, it's going to be very, very difficult. We're going to have to rely heavily on Caribbean member states for funding to carry out these operations and these exercises because of the cut from US aid. And that also has been something that has been very difficult to get, which is full funding or a full pledge from Caribbean member states in respect to these organizations that exist under CARICOM.
Yeah, definitely so. I think as in the past, we would have a lot of smaller island states in the Caribbean rely on Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and Barbados to basically foot the bill. And coming up into it is Ghana, which seeing a oil boom right now, and may be able to contribute financially to the Caribbean community at a more strategic rate. So while we're not there as yet, we might be able to have a ratification soon, new initiatives to increase the legislative capacity of our laws, but still lack the funding and expertise to implement them. So we're not still without challenging our authorities and our legal capacities and our staff members in the Defense Force because of their capacity to deal with criminality, advanced criminality and technology, things like that was still lacking. So yeah, it becomes a challenge at a point. And we have to communicate and coordinate with each other to help train and advance those capacities. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect and it's going to be 100% successful, but at least we can try, to at least get it halfway there, and try to learn and adapt as we go along as a Caribbean community.
Not to digress too much from the topic that we are speaking about, but given your response, do you think with the latest developments that there is going to be a greater reliance on the founding members of CARICOM, as you would have mentioned, France, Tobago, Jamaica, Barbados, and even possibly Guyana now, given their wealth? Is there going to be a greater reliance on these four states for the full implementation, functioning, and financing of CARICOM and the measures and the organs that exist under CARICOM?
I would say is possible. Mightn't be total. There will be some small contributions from the other states as well, so I wouldn't rule it out. But I could see that the majority of support financially may come from those four countries.
Coming back to also what you would have previously mentioned in relation to, the expertise that is needed, what CARICOM should do, what CARICOM can do, given the history of the function of CARICOM, and given what is happening in the Caribbean, no doubt that any move at this point to try and tackle criminality as a regional bloc could be seen as beneficial. But historically, CARICOM has not had the best in respect to implementation. What do you hope this time, in respect to approach, do you think is necessary?
We had several failures in the past, starting with the Federation and, moving our separate ways since then, and not having, any real or total success in regional integration. But I've seen in the past, with CARICOM and CSMA, that we are making strides towards regional integration. And while it's not perfect, it's been building since, we established certain legislations and certain sharing complex ideals, policies, government agendas. CARICOM heads of government meeting has seen compliance to different regulations. So slowly but surely, I'm seeing a slight increase in the level of cooperation and coordination among Caribbean governments. We're not there yet to the point of we're creating a political union or forming, different ties towards regional integration back towards a federation yet. I'm hoping in the future that we could come to that style of governance back to the table, or bring it back to the table. But for now, all I can hope for is a successful completion to this piece of legislation and the adoption by most Caribbean countries signing on to the Treaty of Chaguaramas to enforce such legislation.
As you said, you had a mixed reaction. There was a positive and there is some negative. Do you share any other concerns in respect to this move? Or on the basis of what we know thus far, it is in principle the foundations for CARICOM's best move yet in dealing with criminal activity in the Caribbean, particularly gun crime?
Yeah, so I've had some reservations on how they're going to handle it. I think I mentioned some of it before. We have a anti-terrorism act already, right? And we have specific incarceration dates, times that we can detain persons without warrants and wiretappings and things like that. But how far could we go without encroaching on the rights of citizens? And to what extent would that affect the business community? And would it affect financial flows of the government? So how are we going to change, regular gun charge to terrorism charges? And to what extent would that have a discrepancy in legislation? And how do we move past that? Some of the reservations I have. Looking at the Philippines as well, of how they implemented the structures to expand the terrorism laws for organized crimes, it led to extrajudicial killings and a lot of aggressive policing. So these are some serious reservations and concerns that I have. While it worked, El Salvador and Philippines, El Salvador in particular, had seen some of the most decreased rates for criminality and gun violence and killings since the implementation of such laws. I agree, it has been a success for them. but at what cost to society, humanitarian rights as well, as the international outlook in the country, especially since I think there was reports over 700 people died of torture in the prisons alone, and over 200 people died of rioting, just being trampled and killed and beaten because prisoners revolted. Some of them were even innocent, and some of them were violent. And every chance they got, they took to rioting just to break out of the place. Do we have the capacity in the Caribbean to hold certain amount of criminal elements in the prisons? Our prison standards up to par, or even can handle increased capacity. So we have to look at all of those things before we even make the legislation. So we can't have ineffective institutions coupled with laws and regulations that we want to implement and not be able to implement them. So while facing challenges like that, we have to be cognizant of the fact that we can increase capacity of our legislation if we can't handle the capacity of prisoners. All right. So
that's an excellent point because in the case of El Salvador, they actually had to build a mega prison in order to deal with this. And again, the whole point is where's the funding going to come from for something like this? This thing is though, Mr. Das, I mean, we can all agree that we are absolutely fed up of the spate of crime and gun violence. And it's happening across the Caribbean, and people live in fear. Uh, El Salvador has been a very interesting case study, as you mentioned. The approach has been anything but ordinary. Um, the results are there to see, but as you mentioned, there are a lot of question marks and negatives associated with the operations. But do you think that that is something that Caribbean people are willing to compromise, given the level of crime and criminality that is being experienced?
I've seen mixed views on that. I've seen some persons comment that, we are not willing to sacrifice, our nationalism, human rights to do so. I've seen others from the business community say they welcome that, to put a control element towards gangs and gun violence. So I think there's a mixed reaction from society, some willing to say that, yes, we're willing to do so because we are not part of the problem and we want to get those who are part of the problem behind bars, at least incarcerated, and others are saying that, it may encroach human rights and it may reflect bad upon the country and then from an international perspective. So I think it's a mixed emotion from our citizens, but I think generally it may be a more favorable view to decrease crime right now, and maybe we could take a look at it after, maybe in a couple of years, once we have decreased the criminal elements, gang elements, as well as the death toll. So maybe in the future, after the implementation, we may revise the act, maybe revise some elements of it, or repeal it, depending on the nature, the state of crime, and how the legislation will have impacted the country and the criminality rates.
Well, as we close this conversation, Mr. Das, as Prime Minister Bmobile said, this is not something that we wanted to do, but it is imperative now. That statement says quite a lot.
It does.
That one line says quite a lot.
Knowing the personality of, Ms. Motley, her Prime Minister Motley, sorry, and I was looking at the comment of the Holness. He was making reference to Haiti. Do we want to end up like Haiti? We need to do something. We need to curb the criminality and violence now before we end up in a worse position or even becoming a failed state, as the case may be. So we need to actually make an approach, develop it, and implement it with different capacities, Caribbean region, different leaders agreeing to it, and having the ability now to look at fighting crime from a different initiative, because so far what we have been doing has not been working. So I appreciate the attempt to try to create a legislation like that, but I really think they have to be very specific with how and the approach towards setting up the legislation and implementation of that piece of documented legislation.
Let's hope that we get the necessary responses for these concerns to be abated. I will tell you this. My opinion was one of, okay, it's great to see criminal leaders working together and collaborating on this particular issue. And that in itself um, is a positive. But we've collaborated so many times on things before, and they simply have not worked as effectively as we wanted them to. And given the comments of Mia Motley, and as you mentioned, Andrew Holness of Jamaica as well, um, you wonder if this is just part of a desperate move now. You wonder if this is the only other option that they have on the table. But this is something that is relatively new in respect to the approach. So we are waiting to see what happens, Mr. Das. That's all we can do at this point. And hopefully, in 1 year's time, if we have to revisit this topic, such concerns or questions that you asked this morning will have been answered. But for now, thank you very much, Mr. Das, for your time. I appreciate it as always.
You're welcome.
All the very best, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we take a break here on AM Prime. Lots more to get into this morning. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
My name is Dr. Joanne Williams-Carroll, and I am the Director of Behavioral and Mental Health at the Community Hospital. At the Community Hospital, we believe in nurturing mind, body, and soul. Through our counseling and chaplaincy program, we will provide you with support and strength you need to help with your mental and emotional well-being.
Give us a call.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
SM Group International Limited, your solutions partner for the latest innovations, brands, and competent staff to meet your needs. We provide products and services in the following divisions: executive services, event rental and services, power and heavy equipment, construction and property management, food and beverage, aggregate and sales and distribution. Check out more on our products and services at www.smgrouptt.com. Contact us at 221-7445 or email at info@smgrouptt.com. We are SM Group International, your solutions partner.
We are tackling the hard-hitting topics, some controversial topics, some topics we sweep under the rug. You don't always have to forgive in a relationship for it to move forward.
If it is you are in a situation where you forgive the person, but to the detriment of yourself, what are you really doing?
It is very uncommon for somebody in the younger age group to have dementia.
Atheists don't not believe.
Is that I can't disprove God, but you also can't prove God, so we kind of at a stalemate.
We'll focus on the woman who's being the victim, or the man is being the victim. We exclude the children.
Folks are trying to study the underlying brain mechanism to figure out how does this particular disorder happen in the brain? How is the brain processing this?
Don't worry about AI. Worry about humans working with AI.
Are you willing to learn new skills to stay relevant for the future job market? That's the challenge that people are going to struggle with.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lip?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
Fan Zone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best for your baby is at thebesttoys.com. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs. Visit us in store at Forces Flagship McLean. Shop online now at thebesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
This is 10 Questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Join me, Dr. Nalini Kokram, on What's Up Doc, where we discuss all your burning questions concerning health.
Trinidad and Tobago is among one of the highest risk group of patients that develop this form of genetic breast cancer.
What I'd like to take home from a short interview like this, screening. You must screen.
Because it's silent.
It's silent.
Yeah.
And because it's silent, you don't know it's there.
What's Up Doc, every Tuesday and Thursday on WESN, Content Capital.
Folks, we're back and better than ever.
Your show have always appeared to be a show that is focused on going to the cause or looking to the cause.
We hardly ever talk about the white-collar crime, though. We always talk about the ones that involve more as physical violence against individuals.
The citizens will only measure transmission when water starts to flow through their taps.
Because vision doesn't talk about local election.
Contract mafia that's responsible for looting the country, and they own and operate these politicians.
So if you are running a country and you can't say nothing as a prime minister, please take up your bag and go.
It is not comparative to the murder figures, but it is in fact very high.
I believe he's protecting certain individuals.
Simon's Musical Supplies Limited. We are the specialist in new and used musical instruments, carrying top brands like Yamaha, Pearl River pianos, vinyl and Sabian cymbals, Remo and Evans drumheads and Fender guitars, just to name a few. Also a wide assortment of music books, pan and accessories. At Simon's, we service what we sell. Trust the leader. Call us now at 625-6412 or visit us at 20 Board Street, Port of Spain.
Take some time for yourself or spend some time with the family at Sandy Point Village Hotel. Enjoy our various studio and suite apartments, self-contained with their own kitchenettes and Wi-Fi. We also have our famous 100-foot swimming pool and our beachfront restaurant, The Steak and Lobster Grill. And our location in Crown Point puts us near the center of activity from the nylon pool to the local nightlife. Call us and make your reservations at 639-8533, 389-2378 or email us at sandypointvillagehotel@gmail.com.
Transform your home with PCU Plus. From stylish furniture to the latest appliances, we have everything you need to create your perfect space. At PCU Plus, we offer fair prices and affordable financing options that are cheaper than hire purchase agreements. With convenient locations in San Fernando, Tobago, Arima, and our lifestyle showroom in Barataria, you're never far from the best deals. Visit PCU Plus today and discover why we're the top choice for quality furniture and appliances. PCU Plus. Quality you trust, prices you'll love. Visit one of our locations or find us online to start transforming your home today.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website www.fanzonett.com for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website fanzonett.com to make your purchase today.
The best for your baby is at wesn. From the best strollers, car seats, baby carriers, high chairs, booster seats, rockers, jumpers and bouncers, walkers, baby blankets, feeding accessories, bathtubs. Visit us in-store at Forces Flagship McVean. Shop online now at dbesttoys.com. Order via call or WhatsApp at 332-BABY. And remember, we have the best toys at the best prices.
This is 10 questions. I'm Andy Johnson. The distance from where we should be in the world in going forward on our commitments with climate change.
The effects of climate change that cannot be accounted for, it's called loss and damage. And we're seeing loss and damage happening so much more in this decade and the previous decade.
The principal term there was this question of the correspondent banking issues.
That is why we're trying to build capacity with this country here, Trinidad and Tobago, and other countries in the region.
Man is not showing any signs of stopping or even slowing down. More than half of the forest in Trinidad is already gone.
All the plants and all the animals and all of the nice clean water and fresh air and everything had to be on this planet for humanity to have a chance.
We have small change when it comes to countries that can take decisions, and when they speak, the world listens.
The General Assembly is a very democratic forum. And Trinidad and Tobago has the same vote as Canada, in spite of the obvious difference in size.
Welcome back to AM Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being with us this morning as we continue with the program now in an effort to try and get an understanding of the candidates who are contesting the upcoming general elections and what their plans are for their constituency. We continue with welcoming the United National Congress's candidate for San Fernando East this morning, John Michael Ali Bokas. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you all? You all seeing me good?
We're seeing you good. We're hearing you good. Thank you very much for joining us on the program. Now, Mr. Ali Bokas, as you mentioned in respect to Maribel as a councillor, at one point they said you couldn't win it. You ended up winning it, and that was quite a big thing, actually, quite a big thing following the local government elections. Last year, you indicated that you actually wanted to go up against Faris Arawi for the San Fernando West seat. You're now going up against Brian Manning for the San Fernando East seat. Changing, same region, different constituency, but in respect to that change in itself from San Fernando West to San Fernando East, is it still something that you're okay with, knowing that it's not initially what you wanted to contest?
Well, I would say good morning to the UNC family, and I would say good morning to Trinidad and Tobago first. I would just like to start off by giving God the glory because, you know, I am here yet another day, you know, just enjoying life again. I would also say that I would say I want to send some love out to my boss, you know, the Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, for giving me an opportunity of greatness. You know, even though I did not get the San Fernando West seat, you know, I was still given, you know, a serious opportunity in order to represent for the San Fernando East. And I think that this seat is a seat of greatness, you know, coming from one of our former prime ministers, as very popular, Mr. Manning, having put in so much work into the seat and the constituents, and just giving me the opportunity, it's like she gave me the opportunity in order to show the world what I can do. So it is up to God, and this is the challenge that I have to face, and I'm going to face it. Once my boss says, John Michael, go forward, I have to go forward to win. Love.
So let me adopt a line of yours that you used in your previous campaign, focus on Ali Bokas. And in focusing on Ali Bokas, exactly what can you do? You said, you know, it's a seat of greatness and you have to show what you can do. Exactly what is John Michael Ali Bokas capable of achieving? What does he want to achieve? Should he become the MP of San Fernando East?
Well, I would also like to say, you know, I want to send some love out to my mom and my dad, you know, the Ali Bokases and the Ali Bokas family. You know, I have grown with a father. His name is Stephen Ali Bokas, and a mom. Her name is Gail Ali Bokas. And my mom always taught me that, you know, she says as a child, sometimes, you know, I would be sleeping at night. As a child, I talk about like 11, 12, 13, and she would just pull me to the side of the bed to kneel down like 3 in the morning, and she would say, John, come, let us pray. And within praying, she will always tell me, John, you know what Trinidad and Tobago and the world needs? Our true purpose is love. And she will always tell me about unconditional love, you know, and how important it is and what is our purpose out there. So growing up, seeing my mom, you know, very strong. She was very strong when coming to her religion as a Catholic. She would say, John, let us go and serve. Let us go and help people. And this is where I was given the opportunity when coming to winning Marabella West for the first time, you know, being the councillor of Marabella West. I was able to show, coming from entertainment, as Macamillion, you know, a lot of people had doubts about me. You know, like, if what is boy gonna do? This boy gonna sing in the seat, you know. And then now, you know, I was able to show people I could grow, you know, grow into what I am right now. That I show them the capability of myself, whereby serving the people, trying to see how best we can move the backwards, move the tractors, you know, see how best we could take down buildings, clean the drains. And with that now, I was able to represent now from Marabella West. I was able to show Trinidad and Tobago that I can do it, you know, that I could take it to the next level. I was able to show the entire UNC party in 1 year and 5 months my capabilities. And I was given a chance, you know, in order to get the seat, to show and prove to the people that I could also come into San Fernando East and bring that love that I brought from Marabella West and that hope for the people of Trinidad and Tobago.
So what hope do you want to bring to the people of San Fernando East, coming back again to you know, what are your plans, your vision for the constituency?
Well, right now, when coming to Trinidad and Tobago on the whole, and just watching the economy, you know, the economy has fallen. So there's a lot of unemployment. When I walk the streets these days, I am on the ground a lot. You know, facing the people direct, hearing the problems, listening to them, seeing how best seeing how best we could find you the solutions in order to see about their problems. Seeing how best, besides unemployment, we're looking out for the youths of Trinidad and Tobago, looking out for the youths of San Fernando East, creating you know, more like helping them with sports, seeing what we could put down on the floor for them in order to keep them positive, right? The main thing is keeping the youths and them positive, leading them into the correct direction, and just showing them love, more and more love, you know.
Let me come back to a point that you made earlier in respect to your mother, and in your previous campaign as well. You spoke about your mother and her influence in respect to your entering of politics, and you made a comment. You said that you knew you had to do the right thing by joining the UNC family because you felt the spirit of your mother in former Prime Minister Kamla Bissabi-Sese. Could you expand on that a bit further? Could you explain exactly what you mean by that?
Okay, so my mom was a woman of faith, you know, and meeting the Honorable Kamla Bissabi-Sese, her whole life is faith, you know. Standing next to this great woman is an opportunity of greatness. You know, she has been one of our greatest leaders. She is one of our greatest prime ministers. Also, too, she's also a legend. Giving me the opportunity to stand next to the UNC family means that it's a legendary opportunity. Anything when coming to standing with her represents love. She says, one day I was talking to her and I said, boss, you know, how could you stand when coming to seeing what is going on and the way how people will attack you? And she turns around to me and she says, John, all you have to do is just keep spreading love. And with that, you know, it just reminded me of my mom, you know, the compassion, the care, you know, the affection she will show. And just being there for the people. She would listen to each and every one. She would shake everybody's hands. And she would always want to show that she wants to be that mother for our nation and that mother for each and every individual of Trinidad and Tobago. So with that, it just touched my heart. And I said, you know, John, this is the way to go. And here I am.
I appreciate your spirit, and I appreciate your approach. But do you really think that love alone is going to win you the San Fernando East seat, particularly coming up against Brian Manning? And as you mentioned, the Manning name is a very powerful presence in itself in San Fernando East.
If I think it will win, yeah, yes, man. Love conquers all. No matter, you could try to do whatever in life. Once you have faith and you have love, it will conquer. It was shown in Marabella West. You know, I walked into the seat. Sometimes I will face 30, 40 people within having on a P&M jersey, and I will walk house to house, just trying to meet the people, trying to hear the problems. And with that now, with that unconditional love, they could see my heart. And through them seeing my heart is where I was able to win and make history in Marabella West. So it's the same thing that I'm looking to do when coming to San Fernando East. Treat the people with that level of respect, listen to them, see their problems, and try to see how best we could fix this and give them, you know, give them the love that.
How would you describe the representation in San Fernando East over the last 4-5 years?
Well, you know, I am here to bring better representation. You know, I see a lot of problems. You know, for example, I've been walking Torridale. You know, there's a lot of bad roads. I could see a lot of houses, you know, they're dilapidated. A lot of cracking. The land is moving. When coming to Torridale, the people are unhappy. You know, I've walked a certain part of Cookie so far. I'm now looking to head into areas like Pleasantville, Monrepo. And, you know, there's a lot of issues. There's a lot of people in San Fernando East at this point is unhappy. And they would just love to know that they have somebody that would listen to them and will come out and support them and try their best for them. You know, we can't fix everything, but the main thing is that we must get down on the ground and try our best.
You said you've been campaigning thus far. What is the response that you've received from those you've interacted with?
Yes, man. You know, it's love. It's love. You know, everything about San Fernando East is love. Everything about San Fernando East is love.
But that's people who you've met, people who are coming out to talk to you. What are some of their concerns? What are they expressing to you?
Well, you know, they express to me. They say that's how John. We want somebody that we could talk to. You know, somebody with that level of compassion, somebody with that level of care, and they say, coming 2025 general election, a lot of people are going to make the difference. And all I have to be there is just be there for them on the ground, make sure that, they want to know that, when time to have meetings with me, I will try my best and, and just represent. It's all about representation. And that's what they want. They want good representation at this point.
Well, Mr. Ali Bokas, I want to congratulate you on your candidacy for San Fernando East and wish you all the very best in your campaign.
Thanks.
And thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning. And we look forward to hearing more from your campaign and more from you on your platform. All the very best to you, sir.
When UNC wins, everybody wins. Love, 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 love. John Michael Ali Bokas, candidate for San Fernando East. Focus on Ali Bokas. Love.
All the best to you, sir. Take care.
Love.
Ladies and gentlemen, we take a break here at AM Prime. We will return shortly. Stay with us.
FanZone, your reliable, authentic supplier, has just gotten better. You can now visit our website, www.fanzonett.com, for your authentic wear and collectibles. The only place where you can use both your Visa debit and credit cards. Visit our website, fanzonett.com, to make your purchase today.
You are watching Strictly Legal on WESN Content Capital. Just give an overview of what exactly is that split arrangement.
Now you don't need to register nothing. You don't need. We can do that another time. But then it becomes a hit, and then everybody starts to want to claim.
The laws that predate many of the independent countries' constitutions are going to be those colonial laws.
We know there are an infinite amount of circumstances that would lead to a murder.
I have a great idea and I have a great concept, but until it's actually expressed, it does not become intellectual property.
Accomplishments or targets of a forensic accountant is to quantify what may have been lost.
We believe we defend criminals and we manipulated the law and we exploited the system.
A responsible journalist will reach out to the person who they have the information on for a comment.
Every word, every line, every paragraph depicts a real moment in someone's life. A father, a sister, a mother, a brother. We at Newsday are dedicated to you, the people, and through independent, unwavering journalism, strive to always bring your stories to life. Because your stories are more than just words. Newsday, independent and credible.
obesity or any related abdominal procedures? The community hospital now offers minimally invasive laparoscopic surgery done by an American-trained, board-certified surgeon with over 20 years experience. Give us a call at 235-5479 for more information.
The Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.
This is Face of Sports, WESN Content Capital. How you felt about the kiss on the lips?
That's the business. I'm nothing to do with that.
I find that was distasteful.
The national senior team, whether you like it or not, that is the model for all other teams to follow.
I'm assuming that the regional requirement may be a much stricter requirement.
This is not about Pro League and Super League. This is a league run by the Normalization Committee that I'm responsible for.
Nobody expected FIFA to fund this arrangement.
If we don't get a professional attitude towards this, we are doomed for failure.
You break the balance, trip the leg, control the body.
They ain't gonna stand put forever.
Why you want the Chiefs to lose so? Why you want the Chiefs to lose so?
They already have two. Lamar don't
Why?
have.
You're jealous because you know the Chiefs getting closer to the Patriots. Let's go to the last part.
No,
of the
not no.
Let's go to the last part.
Knowing how to tell authentic is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Find it, match it, search it. Step 1. Find the style number on the tag. Step 2. Match the style number inside the jersey with the number on the tag. Step 3. Search it. A quick Google search of the style number will verify the jersey is authentic when the search results match the jersey being searched. Don't be fooled by counterfeit jerseys. Before you buy, remember to find it, match it, search it.
Fan Zone, 2 locations nationwide. Center City Mall, Chaguanas and Movietown, Port of Spain. Nationwide delivery available.
Transform your home with PCU Plus. From stylish furniture to the latest appliances, we have everything you need to create your perfect space. At PCU Plus, we offer fair prices and affordable financing options that are cheaper than hire purchase agreements. With convenient locations in San Fernando, Tobago, Arima, and our lifestyle showroom in Barataria, you're never far from the best deals. Visit PCU Plus today and discover why we're the top choice for quality furniture and appliances. PCU Plus. Quality you trust, prices you'll love. Visit one of our locations or find us online to start transforming your home today.
Here is your WESN News on the Hour. I'm Naomi McNish. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Pandey criticizes Labour movement's political shift. Man found murdered in La Romaine. Beaten man's body recovered from Penal River. And internationally, Trump and France's Emmanuel Macron meet at the White House. Now for the details. Patriotic Front leader Michaela Pandey has expressed concern over the direction of the Labour movement, saying some union leaders have strayed from their core mission. Pandey's comments follow the selection of trade unionists Ernesto Kessa and Clyde Elder as UNC candidates in the upcoming Chaguanas elections. She warned against political alliances that, in her view, have historically harmed workers, citing past austerity measures imposed by a UNC-led government. Pandey urged Labour leaders to prioritize workers' needs over political deals. Police are investigating the murder of 31-year-old Zaid Mohammed, whose body was found with multiple chop wounds at Dumfries Road, La Romaine. The discovery was made around 10:30 p.m. on February 23rd. Officers from the Southern Division and Homicide Bureau are continuing investigations into the killing. A 60-year-old penal man was found dead in a river after reportedly being beaten. Lucky Palm Jagdeo was last seen liming near a bar on February 23rd when relatives were alerted to an attack. By the time they arrived, his body was already in the water. Police have detained a suspect as investigations continue. Internationally, President Donald Trump is meeting with French President Emmanuel Macron Monday, 24th of February. The first European leader Trump will welcome to the White House in his second term. Trump and Macron are expected to discuss the war in Ukraine, where the two have expressed sparkly different views. While Macron has argued that any negotiated end to the war must come with strong and credible security guarantees for the Ukrainians, Trump has termed Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator and declined to name anything Russia should be willing to concede to achieve peace. Trump's tariffs are also likely to be a subject of discussion with the European Union, of which France is a member, saying this month it would respond firmly if Trump hits it with tariffs. Trump has since signed a memo calling for fair and reciprocal trade tariffs on all major U.S. trading partners. Well, that's news to the hour on WESN. I'm Naomi Macnish. Thanks for watching.
Welcome back to AM Prime, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us this morning. This is a topic of conversation I had the privilege of covering last year. And I was in studio and I was able to have some friendly banter with my guest in studio. They say that Vinci Mas is the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. It's a bold statement, particularly bold knowing that it's being marketed during Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. But you know what? I give my props up to them because, ladies and gentlemen, product is one thing, the website is excellent, and I'm glad this morning that I'm able to once more facilitate this conversation. As I welcome to the program Senior Marketing Officer of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Tourism Authority, Ms. Kersia Taylor. Good morning, Ms. Taylor. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. And just to be sure, we didn't have the banter. You're referring to Ezzy, because I know our banter may not be as friendly when it comes to speaking about our lovely destination. While I will speak to you about the lovely place of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ezzy will delve more into Vinci Mas, but I am going to back him that we do have the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. And when we do say hot, we're not just talking about the heat, the temperature. We're talking about the most beautiful display of costumes on parade. We have a vibrant musical element. Our art form is very well alive with our calypsonians, our soca artists, our genres of music. And you yourself can probably give testament to last year at Trinidad Carnival, where some of the Vincentian songs were actually topping the waves of the stations and of the different events that they had.
I tell you what, I love it. I like the marketing. I do. And I've been put on the spot from the onset, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome, Ms. Taylor. And she was referring to as with Ezzy Roberts, Marketing and Development Officer of the Carnival Development Corporation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good morning, Mr. Roberts. How are you?
Good morning, and thanks for having us. Yeah, you know, when we say, you did mention the marketing in Trinidad and Tobago, and of course, you'd recognize Trinidad as the mecca of carnival. We are all carnival lovers around the world. You know, we recognize that fact that, you know, you have a population of 1.3 million plus persons, and the vast majority of those persons are carnival lovers. And you have a very large population outside as well in the diaspora, and thousands of people return to Trinidad annually for their carnival, along with visitors from all around the world. So when we do marketing in Trinidad, it's basically an opportunity for us to sell not just to Trinidadians, but to people from around the world who look at Trinidad Carnival. Because even, I mentioned the persons who are coming in, but you still have a lot of persons out there who will not be able to be here for 2025 Trinidad Carnival, but they'll be looking at the various programs and using the various networks to view what's happening. So we're basically trying to reach as many persons as possible while being physically in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in terms of the hottest carnival, that slogan has always been a topic of debate, and we have to acknowledge that. I mean, persons would often want to say their carnival is the best, but we are not here to promote which carnival is the best or things like that, because we believe each carnival can complement each other, because there's so many persons out there who want to travel for a carnival and they all cannot get vacation at the same time. So some persons will not be able to make your carnival, they might be able to come to ours or to go to another carnival. So we're basically selling our carnival as the hottest carnival because of the energy and the vibe. When we refer to the hottest, we are talking about the energy and the vibe of the Vinci parties, the Vinci Mass product generally, in terms of the way people party. It's different, it's totally different. And I've had a number of Trinidadians who would have been to St. Vincent and they for Vinci Mass, and they have acknowledged that our energy is different. While we come out to party, while other countries come out to party, we come out to party hard, hard, hard. So it's a difference in terms of the energy. That's why I'm wearing this. This is a symbol of Vinci Mass. This is the flame, the burning flame. That's what we're talking about, the energy.
Describe to me that energy that one can expect to experience participating in Vinci Mass and all the festivities and celebrations associated with Vinci Mass.
Well, we have a number of activities and events that takes place during our calendar, and this year the dates are June 27 to July 8. So between that period of time, you're going to have a number of activities, events executed by the CDC, the Carnival Development Corporation, which is the umbrella body of Carnival and St. Vincent, Vinci Mass being the product. And the activities that we organize are not just called Vinci Mass. We also include the activities and events organized by various promoters and various other stakeholders put on activities and events. And these span for the 10-day period, but not only that, we have, prior to that 10-day period, a series of rural carnival activities which starts from May. So we basically have a very long period to run carnival, rural carnivals from early May, because Vinci Mass launch officially first Saturday in May. So between the first Saturday in May, right down to the first weekend in July, you're gonna have various activities and events that persons can attend. And believe me, they are all packed and well attended, and persons are partying non-stop. So the energy and vibe is there.
Ms. Taylor, let me come to you, because there's something that Mr. Roberts mentioned. He says, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the island itself, not everybody gets the time off. Not everybody gets the opportunity to travel and go on vacation. But you come to Vinci Mass and you've got the pulse of the island. You've got the energy associated with Carnival because they party differently in Vinci. And I say that because last year I was told, Keaton, you need to come to Vinci Mass. I couldn't make it, and I'm wondering now, boy, if I regret that. But then there's the tourist product, the tourism product as well, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, all that there is to experience. Please tell us what can people experience coming across to the island apart from just Carnival?
Well, you were describing what we've just been recognized globally for. So St. Vincent and the Grenadines is actually right now the leading Caribbean destination for eco-adventures as awarded by the World Travel Awards for 2024. You're also describing a place that Forbes magazine described as, the perfect escape for the winter break. So we know that you have a very high influx of North Americans, persons from the UK and Europe market, who are in Trinidad right now. And, they're looking at the program and they're wondering, where do I go to next? So when you hear about all these things that St. Vincent's is recognized for globally, it's a more than ever compelling reason why they should visit for our eco-adventures, for some of the most beautiful beaches in the world. Actually, Condé Nast Travel has named our Salt Whistle Bay in Mayru one of the most beautiful destinations anywhere in the world. You also have New York Times saying to persons that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is a must visit for the perfect island hopping getaway. We have a unique charm. We're made up of 32 islands and keys. It's always the perfect time to visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There's literally something for every traveler, from our gastronomy to our infectious culture through our Vinci Mass, through our 9 Mornings festivals, through our Easter regattas, and our world-renowned Bequia Regatta is actually being rebirthed for this year. So we are bringing back the Bequia Easter Regatta from the 17th of April to the 21st of April, but we've also incorporated an overall new festival called the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Sailing Week that would start a few days before that. Exactly. So we're giving persons that immersive experience throughout the entire destination. If you're not into your eco adventures, but you love your diving or you love just sailing along the waters, if you're looking to get the perfect romance and wedding getaway, that is also St. Vincent and the Grenadines for you. We even have our e-license marriages license, so persons can come to the destination to get married, but avoid the lengthy process of having to go to the registry physically, then having to find somebody to help assist with actually getting all the paperwork. We've made that process so easy where you can actually just go on to our website, www.discoverSfg.com or www.gov.vc.com, and actually fill out your application form, pay online, and get your license registration ahead of time. So when you come to St. Vincent, it's literally just to get married and enjoy the best of what our country has to offer.
I like that, by the way. You know, want to get married easily, come to Vinci.
That's right.
You had me sold at gastronomy, though, Miss Taylor. I'll tell you, you had me sold there at gastronomy. You said that any time of year is the perfect time to visit St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And from all that you've described, it certainly is. You've got a packed year. It just seems as though it's never ending and non-stop.
Definitely so. And I mean, rightly, as Ezzy would have mentioned, vacations vary for persons annually, and tourism in St. Vincent and the Grenadines is one of our mainstay products. So we are ensuring that we are developing our experiences for every visitor, for every time of the year. We also want persons to be as immersed as possible. We are also working on our visitor experience. So we're not just telling you to come and experience it all, but we're ensuring that your time here is well valued and the marquee value for the destination would remain high amongst other Caribbean destinations. We're also set to receive additional awards this year that we can't wait to boast about. So we are going to be pushing our eco adventures, our sustainable tourism. We are preserving the beauty of the destination for travelers to come.
Boy. Well, Mr. Roberts, let me come back to you because Miss Taylor has already sold us on St. Vincent. You've got to sell us on Vinci Mass.
Yes, go ahead.
And tell us all that's happening this year for Vinci Mass.
Well, we have a number of activities. Let me just go back a bit to last year, because we had a peculiar situation last year where on the brink of the start of Carnival, that official 10-day period, we were hit by a Hurricane Beryl, okay? So we had the Carnival start scheduled to commence on the Friday. We actually had the Friday activity and the Saturday activity, which was Friday was the Calypso semifinals. On Saturday, we had Junior Carnival. And by the Sunday, we had to dismantle the infrastructure at Victoria Park, which is the venue where we host our carnival activities, because Beryl was scheduled to hit Sunday night into Monday morning. It eventually hit as a Category 5 hurricane, and it devastated the southern part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which is mainly the Grenadine islands of Bequia, Canawan, Union Island, and Mairo. They got the brunt of it, but we also had damage in Bequia and parts of the mainland. So we were in disaster mode, and we were still we were struggling with whether or not to still do Carnival. We were asked to continue and to do Carnival, and we did. So some of the visitors had canceled, but a number of visitors still came in. And despite the situation, we had a very massive Vinci Mass 2024. So if under trying circumstances, we were able to pull off a successful 2024 Carnival using various markers, we can see in 2025, hopefully, God spare us, we have no disaster this year. Vinci Mass 2025 is going to be huge. It's going to be massive. We have seen increased numbers in visitor arrivals for Carnival every year. And this is testimony to persons coming in from outside and sharing the good news about Vinci Mass, sharing their great experiences that they would have had while attending events in St. Vincent and the Grenadines at Carnival. And what we do, and just to link back to some of what Carissa said, We have persons now coming for carnival and not just staying in their hotel rooms during the day and wait for the parties or the events at night. You have a number of things to be done during the day. So you're there for carnival, but you're enjoying a total vacation package. You can sail to the Grenadines because we are blessed to have a multi-island state where you can go to different islands that belong to St. Vincent. That's why we are called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So the carnival, a visit for carnival, allows you to experience what we have to offer generally as a destination, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So that's one of the key selling points for Vincy Mas. We have great music coming out from our artists every year. We have producers who would have been, and we are blessed to have producers who also they have also impressed artists from the other islands that they are producing for artists. We have writers from St. Vincent. They are writing for the artists, and it's something that I'm happy about. Because I always believe that Caribbean people, we are into carnival and we should all share the culture, share the experience, and the talent should be spread across the board. So we should all work together, complement each other rather than fight against each other. So when I see these collaborations taking place between artists from different islands, it's really something that we should encourage as a Caribbean people, because where the politicians have failed to unite the people, we have to let the music and the culture do that. So I'm happy to see that Vincy Mas were able to contribute in that regard. We have a number of parties, or all-inclusive fetes. They are off the chain. Persons come to the destination for various things while they come for carnival. Some come for the cultural, the hardcore cultural activities and events like the calypsos, competitions, the mass competitions, etc. But some persons come to party. They come now to just to attend activities outside of those cultural events. And you know, things change over time, and we have to learn to accept as things gravitate in a different direction. If that is the reality of it, that some persons are coming for parties and some persons are coming for the cultural activities, and we offer great execution in both areas.
No, I know last year, when we had this discussion, you did mention that in TNT, I think there was a booth that was established along the Carnival Parade routes, so
Yes.
that you had people being able to come and interact with the booth, get more information. Is that happening again this year? What are some of the activities happening in Trinidad as part of Vincy Masses, bringing people to the island and telling them, listen, you got to come visit our carnival as well?
Yeah. Well, a number of things will be happening while here in Trinidad. We have a number of interviews scheduled for radio, television, because we still have to, while social media is very active and a lot of persons, we reach persons there, we still have persons who are into the traditional media in Trinidad and across the world. So we still have to reach persons on all platforms. So we have radio, television interviews. We also have activation at Brunch and Soca, you know. Brunch and Soca promoters are Vincy. This activity started in St. Vincent and has spread through 10 different destinations thereabout around the world, including one that was held in Dubai, and they're heading back to Dubai this year. They have added Ghana and you know, various destinations. And we will be doing an activation at Brunch and Soca where you'll be able to get Vincy Mas paraphernalia and entry and stuff like that. And interaction, as you mentioned, is very critical for us, because sometimes we're on these platforms and persons can't get to ask questions. So while they're physically with our brand ambassadors and so forth, we'll be able to answer the questions and so on, and to share further details about Vincy Mas with our patrons, with the patrons at that event. We would also be doing, as you mentioned, we have that cabana on Aripita Avenue. And we will be executing there again we would have our displays of the dates of Vincy Mas. The Vincy flag will be flown, and we're gonna have our team there explaining to persons what Vincy Mas is all about, and spreading the good news, again, answering questions that person they ask, and so forth. And we'll have our paraphernalia to give to persons and so on. Last year, and we have some Vincy products as well. Last year they were well received, and we're looking forward to being there again this year.
Well, Miss Taylor, coming back to you as we're getting to the end of this conversation this morning, I mean, you have, Miss Taylor has had this ability, and I take my hat off to her. She was able to just let us know everything, like on the spot. She's like, as when I said, some people might argue a hottest carnival, she went immediately into Steam Drive. And you know what? Well done. Well done. Miss Taylor, as we come to the end of this conversation, once more, remind people why is St. Vincent and the Grenadines the place to visit in 2025? Why does it need to be your next destination?
Actually, CNN Travel just released a report saying that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is, in fact, on the top 25 places to visit for 2025. If you're being lauded by these international media houses globally, what other compelling reason do you need to visit right now? As mentioned earlier, we are boasting of our delicious gastronomy. It's an infusion of Afro, Caribbean, European influence. So we have some delicious food that we'd love to offer from the onset of your arrival. We do have an immersive cultural background. Right now, we are heading into March, which is even known as Cultural Month, a Culture and Heritage Month. So there are a slew of experiential activities set up where persons can actually come and take coastline drives to our rural villages and actually enjoy some of our traditional or indigenous dishes, such as choki bam bam, which is like a cassava bread, and pone, and fried fish, and roast fish, and all these other delicious offerings. We also have a packed, and when I say packed, it's not an overwhelming packed. It's a packed in the sense that there's an itinerary built for every visitor, and it's easily accessible on our website, www.discoversvg.com, where you can find the perfect reason to visit in 2025. Right now, we are singing our praises around our eco adventures. We're putting a lot of measures in place to ensure that where that sustainability of our various sites are concerned, it's well kept and well maintained by each of our visitors. We've been seeing an increase in our arrivals, in our stay of arrivals. We've hit the highest number we've ever hit in the history of tourism for stay over arrivals for 2024, where we've exceeded our 100K mark. We've actually exceeded the targets we had in place for this year. So we're well ahead of where we need to be, and we're going to keep making sure that the tourism product is blooming. We've also seen an increase in our cruise arrivals for this year. We've had an increase to 377 cruise ships coming to our destination. And we don't just have Port Kingston. Remember, I'm telling you that there's something for everyone. So you have Port Kingston, you have Port Elizabeth and Bequia, you have persons also going to Tobago Keys, you have persons even anchoring as far as Union Island, and ensuring that they're taking part and taking advantage of all that we have to offer. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in its tagline, we say that we are the Caribbean you're looking for. And we definitely package that unique energy, that unique culture, that vibrancy into one immersive experience. And we are welcome and open to everyone looking to visit our destination.
Honestly, it's so much to do. Where do you start? I think you have to come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You've got to enjoy the gastronomy. You've got to eat your way to everything that St. Vincent has to offer. Then you've got to burn off all that excess weight and calories by going for a dive, a hike, or jumping up in or jumping up in Vincy Mas. And then while you're at it, you might meet somebody nice. You got that EMAR certificate thing. Yeah, you never know. Romance is there as well. So everything is there.
There's
Everything is there.
literally.
I like the way you wrap it up, man. That's good. We have sold it to you, and now you can sell it to others.
Yes, indeed. And last year y'all did great. I think this year y'all are doing even better, because I'm just like, what else is there, boy? Vinci just keeps coming. They just keep coming. There's always something there to do. Mr. Roberts, before we leave, where can people get more information about Vinci Mas 2025?
Vinci Mas 2025. You can go to our website, which is www.vincimas.vc. Vinci Mas as one word, .vc. And our Facebook is Vinci Mas, one word, Vinci Mas, and Instagram is Vinci_Mas. So you can check us out, and we'll be updating and sending information, and you'll be able to see what's happening for Vinci Mas. You'll be able to share things that have happened in Vinci Mas last year and in previous years. You can view some of it on those platforms.
Well, wonderful indeed. Well, Miss Taylor, I want to thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning. Mr. Roberts, it's good to see you again. Thanks for joining us once more. All the very best. It seems as though it's going to be quite a busy year. It's already started off very busy for both you guys, but indeed, well done on the products that you all are offering. And to all the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for making them the destinations of it in 2025. Thank you guys very much. All the very best.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Take care.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, to Mr. Roberts and of course to Ms. Taylor for joining us this morning. We thank them. The hottest carnival for 2025. I know they're not speaking about Taylor and Mr. Roberts were very, very keen to point this out. It's not just the temperature. They party different in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and it certainly sounds as though they do. But ladies and gentlemen, that's it for AM Prime. Thank you to all my guests for joining me on the program this morning. Of course, thank you, the viewer, making AM Prime what it is. Without you, there's no point in having a show. So thanks for always joining us early on a morning. To my team, Ryan Gomez, Burke, and Milewood, thank you so much for your continued hard work and dedication. Of course, to Naomi McNish for co-producing the program. I'm Keaton Shaw, reminding you today is a good day to have a good day. Reach out to us. You saw the information on your screen. If there is something that you'd like to discuss, if there is something that you think we should discuss, if you just want to shout out to somebody, well, just hit us an email or give us a call, and we'd be definitely happy to facilitate that. We look forward from hearing from you. We always appreciate your suggestions. Believe you me, we get a lot of those. We can't cover absolutely everything, ladies and gentlemen, but certainly we'd like to hear from you. So reach out to us at AM Prime. So we look forward to hearing from you. And until tomorrow morning, bright and early, I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
WESN.
My name is Dr. Stephen Carroll, the CEO at Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist, and we are committed to making good private health care affordable.
For all your medical needs, including dental, radiology, laparoscopy, behavioral and mental health, along with many other services, contact us for more information at 235-5479.
Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventist,
where good private health care is affordable.